Flying ships, also known as airships or dirigibles, represent a unique and fascinating category of aircraft with a history dating back to the late 19th century. These remarkable vehicles rely on buoyant gas, typically helium, to achieve lift and gracefully navigate through the Earth's atmosphere. While they share the skies with traditional airplanes, flying ships stand out due to their distinct features and applications. The primary types of flying ships are zeppelins, blimps, and semi-rigid airships, each offering its own set of characteristics. Zeppelins, named after their German inventor Count Ferdinand von Zeppelin, feature a rigid framework that supports the envelope, which contains the lifting gas. Historically, they have been used for passenger travel, cargo transport, and military reconnaissance. One of the most famous Zeppelins was the LZ-129 Hindenburg, tragically remembered for its fiery end in 1937 during an attempted landing in Lakehurst, New Jersey. On the other hand, blimps, also known as non-rigid airships, lack a rigid framework. Instead, they rely on internal pressure to maintain their shape, with the envelope being entirely inflatable. Blimps are often employed for advertising, aerial surveillance, and various recreational purposes, and their relatively smaller size makes them more maneuverable. Meanwhile, semi-rigid airships strike a balance between zeppelins and blimps. Incorporating a partial internal framework for added stability, these flying ships have served diverse purposes, ranging from passenger transport and cargo delivery to military reconnaissance and scientific research. They enjoyed a heyday during the early 20th century, with luxury airship cruises and long-distance flights capturing the public's imagination. However, their use waned as faster and more reliable airplanes emerged as the dominant mode of air travel. Modern airships predominantly use helium, which is non-flammable, in stark contrast to the hydrogen-filled airships of the past. They have also integrated advanced technology for navigation, control, and communication, improving their safety and reliability. While they have not become mainstream modes of passenger or cargo transport, flying ships continue to have applications in various industries. Airships filled with helium are regarded as more environmentally friendly, producing lower carbon emissions compared to traditional airplanes. Additionally, their steady and stable flight characteristics, with reduced susceptibility to turbulence, offer a comfortable and unique travel experience for passengers. Large windows often adorn the gondolas, providing panoramic views and making flying ships a popular choice for scenic tours. However, flying ships also have notable limitations. Their relatively slow speeds limit their use for time-sensitive purposes, and they are more affected by adverse weather conditions, such as strong winds. Additionally, their cargo and passenger capacities are limited compared to airplanes, making them less suitable for mass transit and large-scale cargo transport. High initial construction costs and historical safety concerns stemming from high-profile accidents, such as the Hindenburg disaster, have also hindered their widespread adoption. Despite these challenges, flying ships continue to find niche applications in various industries. They excel at providing aerial advertising due to their high visibility in the sky and are utilized for research missions, such as wildlife monitoring, atmospheric studies, and aerial surveillance. Advances in materials and technology may pave the way for renewed interest in airships for specific transportation and logistics needs in the future, adding a touch of nostalgia and innovation to the world of aviation. Flying boats, known as carriers or zeppelins, address a captivating class of airplane that has made a permanent imprint on the historical backdrop of avionics. These elevated vessels depend on the guideline of lightness to rise into the skies, standing out strongly from customary planes that produce lift through their wings. The idea of flying boats has its underlying foundations in the late 1900 years and has developed into a different cluster of plans and applications throughout the long term. The essential classes of flying boats incorporate dirigibles, zeppelins, and semi-inflexible carriers. Dirigibles are named after Count Ferdinand von Blimp, a German designer who assumed a significant part in their turn of events. These carriers include an unbending system or skeleton that supports the envelope, the external shell containing the lifting gas, which was generally hydrogen, however has since moved to helium because of security concerns. Dirigibles acquired noticeable quality for their utilization in traveler travel, freight transport, and military surveillance during the mid-20th years. Quite possibly of the most famous dirigible, the LZ-129 Hindenburg, unfortunately met its end in 1937 when it burst into flames during an endeavor arriving in Lakehurst, New Jersey, becoming inseparable from aircraft debacles. as opposed to dirigibles, zeppelins are non-unbending carriers that don't include an inflexible system. Their envelopes are very much inflatable and depend on inner strain to keep up with their shape. Dirigibles are eminent for their mobility and flexibility, making them ideal for applications like promoting, ethereal observation, and sporting purposes. Their more modest size permits them to explore through different conditions effortlessly. Semi-inflexible carriers overcome any barrier among dirigibles and zeppelins by integrating a halfway inward system for added soundness. These carriers offer a split the difference among size and mobility and have tracked down use in specialty applications. Flying boats have filled a great many needs from the beginning of time. They were once an image of extravagance and development, with lavish carrier travels and significant distance flights catching the public's creative mind. The sluggish, consistent trip of carriers was viewed as a more agreeable and stable method of movement, contrasted with the disturbance-inclined ventures on planes. Their gondolas frequently included huge windows, permitting travelers to relish all-encompassing perspectives. Settling on flying boats, a well-known decision for grand visits. Current aircrafts are furnished with trend-setting innovation, including complex route frameworks, high-level control systems, and solid correspondence hardware. Also, they have changed to helium as their lifting gas of decision, wiping out the combustibility concerns related with early hydrogen-filled aircrafts. Notwithstanding their exceptional qualities and rich history, flying boats have confronted a progression of difficulties that have restricted their standard reception. Their generally sluggish velocities make them less appropriate for time-delicate missions, and they are more powerless against unfriendly weather patterns, areas of strength for especially. Their freight and traveler limits are compelled contrasted with planes, delivering them less reasonable for mass travel and enormous scope freight transport. The underlying development expenses of carriers can be significant, and verifiable security concerns coming from high-profile mishaps, like the Hindenburg calamity, have made an enduring imprint on open discernment. Nonetheless, flying boats have not blurred into lack of clarity. All things being equal, they have cut out specialty jobs in different enterprises. They're harmless to the ecosystem profile, described by lower fossil fuel byproducts, has procured them acknowledgement as a more supportable method of transport. A key benefit is their solace and steadiness, with the capacity to furnish travelers with peaceful and beautiful excursions. Carriers have additionally tracked down their specialty in publicizing, given their high perceivability overhead, and are instrumental in research missions, including natural life observing, climatic examinations, and elevated reconnaissance. The fate of flying boats stays a fascinating possibility. Propulsion materials and innovation might revive interest in these agile airplane for explicit transportation and strategies needs. As they keep on taking off through the skies, carriers address a mix of sentimentality and development in the domain of flying, offering an exceptional and unmistakable method of movement and investigation.